This is the repair of a GE gas dryer that will only run when the start button's held in, and it also has a noisy motor. You also want to make sure that you unplug the dryer before you start any work on it. This repair is based on GE's gas dryer GTDP490GD0W, and the electric dryer is similar except it's got an electrical element instead of a gas igniter. You can find your make and model number of your GE dryer, open the front door, and it's down in the bottom right corner. This dryer had a broken belt switch, and to overcome that, I put duct tape across the start button to hold it in, which I do not recommend doing. It's very, very dangerous. When I did this, I was in the same room with the dryer, and what eventually did happen is the belt broke. And when that happens, the clothes aren't tumbling anymore, and they get super hot, and they can ignite and cause a fire. So I don't recommend taping the start button in. Open the front door and remove the 2 screws holding the top on. You may want to undo the 3 screws on the back of the console so you can tilt the console back a little bit and unhook the top and slide it out. The 2 screws for the top. Unhook the top and slide it out. Lay the top to the side. And there's the drum, and as you can see, there's no belt. It's a score mark. That's actually not the belt. I like to tape the front door with a piece of duct tape to keep it flopping open when you're removing the front of the dryer. To remove the front, you need to remove the hex head sheet metal screws, 1 on each side. I used a 1/4-inch ratchet with the appropriate size socket. Even though I cleaned the lint trap, there's another internal lint trap, and there's like lint in there. It's the size of a softball. You have to slide the plastic guard back and disconnect the bottom white and the top brown and yellow wires. Also disconnect the 2-pin connector. After you get the wires disconnected, you have to lift the front of the dryer off of three tabs that go through cutouts in the plastic on the front. This is the lint trap. You have to remove the belt off of the idler pulley. With your right hand, reach in around the right side of the drum, and with your left hand, reach in right above the motor in the opening. And with the right hand, pull the pulley down, and with the left hand, remove the belt off the pulley and off the motor spindle and pull the belt towards the front. If you just have a broken belt switch and your belt's still good, which I would still recommend replacing it, but if the belt's still there, you can use the belt to help lift the drum out. The drum should come out freely. If it doesn't, check to make sure that the drum is not being held in by one of the side flanges on the cabinet. You might have to push the cabinet open a little bit to allow the drum to be extracted. I'm replacing the motor on this, but even if you're just replacing the broken belt switch, you're still going to have to remove the motor to some level. You won't have to take it out as far, but you have to take it out enough that you can get the switch off. You need to remove these two screws. Next, remove the over temp sensor, and you'll notice that one side has a screw and the other side it slides into like a plastic groove. To remove the motor assembly, you have two screws in the front, one vertical, one horizontal. Then you have a vertical screw, a grounding screw on the left side. Disconnect the connector at the front of the motor. Take note how the belt tensioner pulley is attached to the side of the motor frame and slide the motor out. The next step is you have to remove the turbine off the end of the motor shaft. What you want to do is clamp it with a pair of vice clamps on the opposite side, and the fan or turbine just spins off, left to the left. This is a picture of the broken belt switch with the arm of the belt tensioner, and the switch comes up with the motor frame. You can see the broken belt switch. It's midway in the picture, bottom quadrant. This is building up the new motor. You won't have to do this unless you're replacing your motor. Loosen the two torque screws. Don't remove them, just back them out about 1/4 of an inch. The new connector or wiring harness fits down over the two torque screws, and once you get everything seated, go ahead and tighten them back up. Plug the new harness in. Make sure both tabs on either side of the connector snap in. Now you need to disconnect both of the motor straps and remove the old motor from the frame. On the fan or turbine side, loosen the top screw and then completely remove the bottom screw. The left motor strap you need to disconnect with a screwdriver. Then connect the wiring harness from the old motor to the new wiring harness. Make sure it snaps down. Make sure the lock tab is engaged. After you get the new motor back into the frame, you want to replace the broken belt switch. These are both of the broken belt switches, the bad one with the button that's stuck in, and the good switch. This is a picture of the broken belt switch with the tensioner, the belt tensioner in front of it. And I found it's a lot easier to install the frame and then install the tensioner with the shaft. You have to be a little forceful to get around that. See that curved up that tan color curve to the right of the belt switch? That sort of holds it in place against the frame of the dryer. Insert the motor into the fan housing. The motor housing fits into some raised cutouts in the bottom of the dryer. Connect the front electrical connector. Install the screws in the front of the motor and the grounding screw on the left side. Install the over temp sensor. Install the motor back into the blower housing and make sure to turn the turbine to make sure that the motor is not binding. Install the 2 long screws for the fan housing. Notice the electrical connector is to the left and the belt switch will make a clicking noise when you pull it to the right. When you put the new motor back into the frame, you want to make sure, what I did is I had the connectors pointing up and they have to point to the left side of the motor. I had to tape the front electrical connector with duct tape. It kept coming apart. The connector, the locking tab on it's really flimsy. Here is the new belt. The vertical ribs on the bottom of the belt, they go against the drum. This is the back part of the dryer that the drum is inserted into. Put the new belt on the drum. You can actually pick the drum up with the belt. It eases a little bit getting the drum back in. On the end of the drum, there's a plastic bearing that can fall off. It's only held on by an O-ring, a rubber O-ring. And what happened is I was taking the drum in and out a couple times while I was trying to fix some other issues, and the O-ring broke and the bearing came off, and I couldn't figure out what was going on at first until I saw that, and luckily I have a kit of O-rings, and so I replaced that. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Just like getting the drum out, putting it back in, the sides of the sheet metal sides of the dryer sort of close in on it. So you may have to push them apart a little bit. Once you get the drum seated, it's time to put the front cover back on. And you need to use those 2 sheet metal screws with the hex heads. And also there's a tab. You can see it right below the socket. There's a tab sticking out. You got to get those tabs all lined up. Test time. Put the front back on and then put the top back on, and the dryer's all ready.